The technique that I've used in various contexts in the past for helping to develop a strategy is one which has been taken from the wider graphic and interaction design community, and that's something called the development of personas. And this sounds very fancy, but it is quite frankly nothing more than creating a series of fictional characters that are based on your collective knowledge of your audience. Now, this is something rather different to simply gathering market intelligence through user surveys and so on. Those things are hugely useful, and they're specifically useful, I think, in addressing areas like marketing and promotion and so on. But when it comes to building things, comes to building services, comes to designing particularly online communications solutions, it's very useful to be able to think about specific people who, as I say, are fictional but based on the knowledge you have of your audience. So if you were, for instance, developing some form of learning proposition for children, let's say in their mid-teens, you might want to think about 4 or 5 separate children from differing socioeconomic backgrounds and so on, and then think about their lives as very real things. How old is Richard? Where did Richard go to? Where is Richard going to school? What does Richard do outside school? What are his loves? What are his passions? What technology is he using in the house? What technology has he got access to that isn't his own? What does he own? What media properties is he interested in? And so on and so forth. Develop, and these are very, very high level questions. I would suggest that the more and more detailed you get, the better a picture that you start to build up of, in this case, Richard. And then you'll move on to someone else who has to be different to Richard. Now, this is a group exercise to do with whoever's involved in building whatever it is you're building. And I should stress, actually, it's huge fun. I've yet to sit in on a session doing this, and I've been doing it for the best part of a decade now, where people didn't turn into, well, it seems that everyone does genuinely have an inner author. So use this fun methodology to then build up a set of, as I say, 5, 6, 7 personas of people that are going to use your service. Now, that's all fun. The tough bit then is thinking, okay, how, when, and where are these individuals who you now treat as though they were real going to use the thing that I want to build? Now, the great thing about this is that I know that we've all been responsible at some point or other for creating some offering where we thought we had a cool thing and we just wanted people to use it, and we knew that they would if we just put it out there. You know, it's the thing that's characterized as, if you build it, they will come. Well, we know that that's not always the case, and sometimes just building something because we like it, well, that can be fun, but it's not always the most effective way to get to an audience. By having a series of personas that we can really use as reference points when we're building a service, as I say, we actually see it being used in effectively real lives. But the great thing is we don't have to build anything. We can do all of this on paper. So that's my pretty quick and dirty, and certainly very cheap, it costs about as much as it takes to get a few coffees in for a morning, way of looking at building a service that works for real people in the real world. So that's the process, very broadly, and it's a process which, as I say, I hope is fun and should be, although it should be rigorous too. As for what comes out of that, I think it's essential that it's simple and that it's very easily understood. I mean, frankly, if you've got a strategy which you can't explain in a 20-minute meeting to your colleagues, just using words, then I think you've got a bit of a problem. The thing to do is make sure that you've got a strategy which on paper is certainly less than 10 pages, and if you can get it down to 5, that's brilliant. And can be put on just a handful of slides when necessary to speak to people. It should be a clear strategy which says, here's who we're designing it for, so that's those personas again. Here's the kind of things that they're going to be doing with our service, that's those scenario planning. And here's how we're going to build a service and what it's going to look like, feel like, or whatever the service is in answering those problems. Clear, simple, short, and something which everyone in your organisation can understand.